All right, folks. Welcome to 27 degrees out here. All right, working on a Jeep Wrangler with a 3.6. So you already know what that means. Yes, it's an oil cooler housing leak. All right, it's all over the internet. YouTube has 10,000 of them already done. I'm just going to show you the way I did it. Pretty much the same. Let's break it down nice and easy for you. Might have to take my union break in between. And that's the way it works. All right, let's see here. Let's take the top engine cover off. Just pop this off. Put it off to the side. Then we're down to the air filter to the throttle body hose. Clamp here, 2 10-millimeter bolts here. If you notice, this has been done before, so it's already broken. I didn't do it. It was already done. So the oil cooler was already done recently. I don't know how long ago, but it was done by the Chrysler dealer, okay, under warranty. So a lot of this stuff has already been removed. So it's a lot easier than taking it for the first time. Now back here, there's a little rubber or foam cover, okay? You see a lot of them on the internet. They just rip it up. They take the 2 little clips here, Christmas tree clips, and they pop them and they rip it up. I could not rip it up without ripping it, like really demolishing it. So what I did was I just took the 10-millimeter bolts there and removed this bracket. Took it out of the way, and then the foam came out a lot easier instead of mangling it out, because otherwise it grabs on this metal here and it will rip. Okay, so I didn't want to rip it. I like to keep it nice, original. Put that off to the side. Now to the manifold hoses. All right, there's this hose over here that's attached to the air cleaner. Okay, they're locked onto those little U clips over here. Just snap them out of there. There's another one over here for this one. Take it out of there. There's another one over here. I took it out of there. Okay, these 3 can actually be lifted up and out of the way when it's time to take the manifold out. So right now they're just hanging loose. Over here, it was 2 10-millimeter bolts to take this harness bracket up. Just gotta lift it up out of the way. I've seen these brackets taken off too, or at least moved. So far, I didn't do it yet because I didn't get to the bottom yet, but I loosened them up just in case. All right. So that's pretty much on this side. And then you got your plugs. Oh, by the way, when you take that plastic thing, there's a inlet temperature sensor that you have to unplug. This one here, the throttle body, you got to unplug it. Just pull this little red clip out, and then you can squeeze it. That'll come out. There's another plug up here. On the driver's side, same thing. Squeeze it, pull it off to the side. This harness is on with a little Christmas tree clip. Pop that, get that out of the way. There's another one down over here. Pop that, get that out of the way. Going back to the throttle body, there's a clip over here. Different clip. It's a metal one, just clips onto this little lip over here. Okay, get that. Over here, there are 2 10-millimeter nuts. One in the back and one over here in the front. These hoses are in the way, just move them out of the way. Right? 10-millimeter nuts, and move them out of the way. And they're studs, so they are part of the manifold. What happens is that when you unbolt the manifold, when you unbolt the upper plenum from the bottom, you're just going to take the whole assembly, you just pull it out this way, out of the studs and the brackets, and lift it up out of the way. All right, let's climb up here. Over here, people, is the bolts to the upper plenum. There's 1, 2, 3 over here on top. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. That one's for the bracket. There's 1, 2, 3. There's a few here. 1, 2, 3. And there's 4. There's one all the way in the back pointing down. You need a little extension to get to that one. Okay. Once you get that, then this here is pretty much loose as a goose. Okay. Like I said, you're going to lift it up past this little bracket over here and then take it like this and just pull it off on a slant. So I could do this with the left hand here. Okay. Once you pull it out, up out of the way, like that. Or these could tie up out of the way if you want, so it doesn't grab. But once the plenum is out, then this is the part that you get into. All right. This is a little rubber foam piece that covers up the coils on the driver's side. Do not forget to put it back on. I'm sure a lot of people do forget. It's common. Okay. Now up to this part. What we're going to do now is we are going to start to take the fuel rail off. The fuel rail has to be removed and tilted over to the side. All right, so we don't have to disconnect the fuel line, but you do have to disconnect all the fuel injectors over here. All right, so up to this point here, we are now going to take my union brake. You know what I'm going to do? We can wire tie that up out of the way. So I'm going to take my union brake, and we'll come back. Before I go my brake, give you a closer look at those bolts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7, the one in the back. All right. So from the top view, those are them. And the nuts, I put them back. All right. So I put all the screws and the nuts back on the plenum so that they don't fall off when you put them on the side of the fenders. Because you know what's going to happen? You're going to knock them off. They're going to disappear. They're going to go into nowhere. And you're going to kick yourself in the butt. So I put all the hardware back together. Makes it nice and neat. All right. Union brake. All right, folks. I want to change the spark plugs on this 3.6. If you're here, I should have attached the first half of it, which is the intake plenum, in order for you to get to the driver's side spark plugs. All right, because they're kind of covered up and hard to see. But this is here because of the oil cooler housing. But while it's here, we're going to do spark plugs anyway. But if you were just doing spark plugs, the upper half of the plenum of the intake has to come off. Okay? All these hoses and all these plugs you have to disconnect. Now, when you get to the coil part of it, okay, it's a 10 millimeter bolt, okay, that holds the coil right there. 10 millimeter bolt comes off. Then you have to unplug the coil. Now, to unplug this coil, okay, the way the clip is not like the regular clip where you just push it in. You actually have to lift it. You look carefully at this clip here. Okay, you see this little slot over here on this side? Stick a little something pointy in there and just lift this tab. That looks like a little U. You just want to get a pointy thing in there and just lift the tab just a little bit. And then this connector will slide right out. Okay, so you basically just going to go underneath this U, lift it just enough, and give it a little push. If it hasn't been changed in a while, you might need 2 hands. Get a little screwdriver in here, okay, just to give it a little push with a tension while you're lifting that up. Okay, once that is out, then you are up to this point over here in the back where I am. Okay, where we're going to take the spark plug out with the spark plug remover. Okay. And here is the spark plug. All right. On this one, we're going to replace with auto lights, iridiums. That's what we're going to do. Stick it back in there. Tighten it back up. Put the coil back in with the nut. Tighten that up. And then put the plug back in. All right. So that's what you have to do for the spark plugs. That's the hardest part, is right there. It's a little tight in this area, as you can tell, because of the battery case. All right, get a nice little swivel, and you get it done. All right, and then you got to put the rest of the intake plenum after you change all the other 6 plugs, or the other 5 plugs. All right, that's it. Spark plugs, simple, just hard to get to. All right, otherwise remove and replace is just like a regular spark plug change with the coil. 10 millimeter bolt with a plug. All right. Just to get to is the hard part. All right. Thanks for watching. Ciao. All right. For you folks that did spark plugs If you happen to break the connector, or because the connector is old and it breaks, look what I did here. A little wire tie went through the hole, made like a little loop. Okay, then took another wire tie, went underneath the coil, wrapped it around, grabbed it, and pulled it. So it's nice and tight. So it's not going nowhere. Okay, so if you're doing a tune-up, put your silencer back on, change the gasket. For some reason, a lot of videos, they take the plenum off, do the spark plug or the coils, and they just put it back. There's a gasket. This gets crushed. Go buy a plenum gasket. Change it. There's so many videos out there that they have not changed this at all. All right. So basically, everything else goes back together. Okay. Put the intake back together and your tune-up would be done. I have to go back because I have to finish up my oil cooler. So I'm up to this point too. So yeah, if you just did a tune-up, did all that stuff, put your hoses back together, connect all your wires, your injectors wasn't touched. So basically, just the 3 ignition coil plugs. Okay, and all this other wiring and hoses, you have to put it all back together. All right, that's it. There's your tune-up.